Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anime Academy, episode 3. I am your headmaster, Paolo.
And I'm Zakk.
Class is in session, and we will be talking about some of our recommendations for all of those of you thinking, what anime should I start? Is this a good anime to watch? Don't worry, we got you covered. We're going to go through some lists for you guys to answer these questions that you might have.
Yeah, I think anyone who's watched a couple, they learn what they like and they start to figure out what kind of things they want to explore. But for someone who's never watched anything before, maybe unsure what a good place to start is, we're gonna just give some recommendations of different genres, some cool places to start, and then after that, we're gonna start talking about what other lists online recommend and discuss our opinions on that. One topic that comes up a lot, kind of got some stigma around it, is subbed versus dubbed.
Ah, yes, the age-old question. I'm glad we're talking about this.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's one of those things. It's important, I think, when you're watching anime to be able to watch subbed, because especially if you're getting into it, there's so many shows that you're not going to be able to watch dubbed.
Right.
That and hey, if you want to watch things as they come out, if you want to be up to date on a show, you're probably going to end up watching it sub.
Of course, 1000%.
So it is something that I think most people move towards eventually. But for someone just getting into it, like dubbed is perfectly acceptable.
I started with dubbed when I first started watching anime, but then there, like you said, there comes to a certain point in an anime where the dub stops, and you kind of have no choice but to watch it subbed.
Mm-hmm. I think another thing too is like I still watch dubbed anime sometimes, and I think a lot of that is due to you grow fond of certain voice actors. Like a lot of shows, Attack on Titan, for example, right now, I'm
Hmm.
I'm watching subbed, obviously, um, but once I complete the final season, once it's done, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch the dubbed because I have so much respect for the voice actors in that show. What are some of your favorite voice actors?
Well, funny enough, over the Christmas break, I got my sister a cameo from Sasuke Uchiha's English voice actor. That was just a real experience, not only for her, but for me. I was like, Sasuke just said my name. Everyone shut up. Sasuke is speaking to me and my sister right now. I had like a little fangirl moment, and so did my sister.
Last episode, we talked about the importance of your starter anime and the impact that
Hmm.
it has on you. I think it's pretty fair to say that most people start out with like a power fantasy shonen.
Yeah.
Your Dragon Ball, your Naruto, Fairy Tail, Bleach, One Piece. And I mean, that's not to say you don't have exceptions to that rule, I know a lot of people who started with like Death Note, Evangelion, Tokyo Ghoul.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we're going to offer some of our recommendations over different genres. Some of them we'll be able to speak more on,
Hmm.
others not so much. I know one that we both share a passion for is Death Note.
What a fabulous, well thought out, talented, brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping spectacular. I can go on forever about how much I love this anime.
For those who don't know, Death Note is a series that came out in the mid 2000s, and it follows a young Light Yagami, a Japanese teenager, who stumbles upon the notebook of a god of death. And a name that is written in this notebook, the person will then die. Um, you can set different conditions and stuff uh, surrounding the death, and this leads to some really interesting strategy for a boy who is trying to play God.
I wonder, and this might have been explained in the anime, but it just came to my mind now. So let's say I am in the possession of the Death Note. And I miraculously just died, and I wrote in the Death Note a condition for a person that will take place in a week. Is that condition still met, even though I am no longer in the possession of the Death Note?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter who writes it, it's just if it's written.
In the book. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think one of the great features about it is that it's an art style that's really easy to swallow.
Yeah.
Another thing too is like it's not this action packed, crazy, like what the heck
Hmm.
is going on? It's slowed down, but
Yes.
that
It's
doesn't mean it's any less climactic or dramatic.
it's a great slow burner, and it takes you on this ride that gives you the finest of details to the storyline. So when it comes to the end of it, everything just seems complete. Everything comes full circle. There's no fillers, so every episode that you watch is important in some way, shape, or form.
There is a major event that takes place halfway through the show, and after that happens, I think a lot of people fall off. So they watch like the first 24 episodes and then that's it.
Okay, fair, fair, fair.
But this second arc is brilliant. It just takes a little while to set up. Like the final episode is so crazy and climactic. You've had, 3, 4 plots all going at the same time that finally clash.
Yeah,
They finally all come together, and it's just mind boggling the first time you watch it.
it truly takes you on this very eventful roller coaster throughout each arc. If you keep watching it, they like slowly start to pull you back in until they get you where they want you, and then at the end, you're just like, wow, this was art, fine art. Cool. Yeah, so Death Note is a great starter anime if you want to get into like the horror, psychological thriller kind of aspect of anime.
Mystery. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Really great jumping point for a bunch of different genres. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the first genre we mentioned at the beginning, very popular one, is power fantasy shonen. And
Yes.
I think we can both agree that Naruto is probably the best place to start with that.
Yeah, I mean, it does have its like gruesome moments, but at the same time, it's still a pretty decent anime just to get off the ground and into the world that is anime.
It teaches you the story that you're gonna hear time and time again if you continue watching power fantasy shonen.
It's basically the hero story to a T.
Kid wants to be the best. By circumstance, he's special. This is how he overcomes the challenges and defeats the big bad guy.
I even watched that a little bit as a kid, so when I got back to watch it years ago, it was something familiar. I was like, okay, like I've watched this. This is pretty
Mm.
decent, and it is. It's a great anime.
It's a story of a boy who wants to become a ninja. He does not stop there. He wants to be the best. He wants to be the leader of his village and really is looking to prove himself. It's a pretty good coming of age anime to watch as well. The only downside I would argue to Naruto is the fact that it can get quite long. To watch the original series is only like 220 episodes, and if you skip what is widely renowned as filler hell, then it's only like 120 or something like that.
There's too much. Like Naruto, especially in Shippuden, had way too many fillers. At one point, I kind of stopped watching Naruto because there were so many fillers. Like, so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait until they get their shit together.
Yeah, fair enough.
But even when they did, they would show maybe 5 minutes of something relevant, and then okay, that's you guys seen enough. We're gonna put in some more fillers. Oh,
Yeah,
Naruto.
it's an excellent series, but Shippuden is definitely a commitment.
Oh, I think a commitment is an understatement.
Yeah.
It's a full body
And then
experience.
if you want to watch the movies, and like on top of that, if you want to watch Boruto now, like there's a
Did
lot of
you?
Naruto content.
I didn't watch any of the movies. I didn't.
I did. I enjoyed them actually.
Okay.
They were pretty good. Some of them were really bad, but generally speaking, they were pretty good. Solution to this problem I would like to offer is actually My Hero Academia.
Ah.
I only just watched this recently. Really good. It's a similar kind of story. Swap the ninjas for superheroes. It's a boy who's born powerless. He wants to be the world's greatest hero. He wants to be this symbol of peace for the world, but he has no means of doing so. And when he does acquire power, he has to learn how to use it, and he's a couple steps behind everyone else around him. So it's this struggle for him to fulfill what he thinks is his purpose. And the good thing about My Hero Academia is that it's not nearly as long. I think currently it's got 4 seasons and it's like 88 episodes. So in the time that it would take you to watch the original Naruto, you could have finished all of My Hero or at least been caught up, right? Pretty easy to watch for somebody who's never watched anime before. So let's talk horror.
Ah, my favorite. If I could just live my entire life in a horror movie or anime, I'd do it.
We discussed that, I don't know, maybe Tokyo Ghoul is not the best place for people to start.
Thinking about it, it kind of just rips off the band-aid. If you are going to go into it, you might as well start off strong so you already know what's coming for you.
Fair enough. I mean, if you're gonna get into horror anime and you know it's something that you want to watch, then yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo Ghoul is a good place to start. Uh, Excellent plot. You know, it's not just gore happening on screen. However, I would like to point our attention to Parasite, something that not only will introduce you to the genre, but you know, just introduces you to more obscure anime in general.
I loved Parasite. It was so good. I kind of want to rewatch it again because it was that good to me. And I found that Parasite, yes, it did have its horror elements, but the story itself was pretty entertaining to watch too, to see how Shinji was going to adapt to, well, I don't want to say too much. You guys should go watch it, period. But something happens to him that will change the course of his life for a couple years, and he has to live with that. This age-old question of what's really good, what's really evil, really comes into
Hmm.
play with Parasite,
For sure.
and it makes you question: is what's happening good or is it bad?
It's
Way that
done
they did
very
it.
effectively. Yeah. The only other major genres that we haven't really covered thus far, like a slice of life kind of anime, sports anime. I know Haikyuu is a huge one when we go and talk about that.
Hmm.
If you're looking at slice of life, you've got Toradora. And you know what? Honestly, anyone who has experienced figure skating or is just looking for something easy to watch, Yuri on Ice. Yuri on Ice was
Yes.
huge when it came out. People are still waiting for the new season. Can't say it's something that I was ever able to get into myself, but I can
Right.
understand the appeal as a starter anime. One of the few LGBT love stories in anime. Well, with all that in mind, how about we start going over some lists? Okay, so according to Screen Rant, these are the
Hmm.
15 best anime for beginners. Okay, okay. I off to a decent start. This is number 15. It's the Ancient Magus Bride. I don't know if you're familiar with it at all.
Um, I believe it was recommended to me, but I'm like, okay, I'll watch it, and then I never got around to it.
It takes place in a magical version of modern England where Celtic and Scandinavian monsters and fairies live unseen in the wilds. Okay, 14 is Cells at Work. Yeah, I have not watched this at
Neither
all.
have I.
It's only 12 episodes long, with a second season coming soon. Few works of fiction have portrayed the inner workings of the human body in this fashion, and Cells at Work does it in true anime style. The human body is a vast city of apartments, furnaces, and aqueducts, and hard-working cells keep it all running. Oh, that's kind of cool.
Sounds quite interesting.
It's only 12 episode long. Okay,
Hmm.
13. This is one we talked about before, is Dr. Stone. Another huge one right now. First season's about 24 episodes long. Lower commitment for somebody who's just looking to check out an anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. Sitting at number 12. Plastic Memories. Oh man. It's described on here as like Blade Runner meets The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh.
Fair enough. Basically, there's this dude who is hired to retire robots, unplug them for
Oh.
good. You know, he's basically the vet who gets to do nothing but put dogs down all day.
Oh my God, that's a sad thing to think of. Lord
Yeah.
Jesus.
He falls in love with this robot who is on the verge of being retired herself. He's going to have to put her down, essentially.
Oh, snap, crackle, and pop. That's gonna be, oh man. It sounds quite
It's
interesting. I
good.
might
It's
I might give
emotional.
this, oh God. That's the last thing I
Plastic
need right now. It's more emotional
Plastic memories.
instability.
Number 10 is Parasite. You guys already know where we stand on that. And same thing with number 9, they're recommending Yuri on Ice. As we mentioned earlier, they're great starter anime for their respective genres, albeit they are two very different shows. So it's good to just watch a bunch of stuff and figure out what you like. But
Yeah,
it's a good love story.
and who doesn't love a good love story?
Oh, of course. Up next we have Cowboy Bebop. Enough said. I mean, it's a really interesting one because it's a space western.
Yeah, like it shouldn't work when you think about it, but then once you kind of like start to get into it, you're like, okay, this kind of does.
7, One Punch Man. I just finished season 2 finally.
I have also not watched this. Wow, I think I need to watch
Whoa.
some more anime. I know, okay, you're gonna hate me for this. I literally thought One Punch Man. Okay, no, for like a millisecond, I was like, isn't One Punch Man like Dragon Ball? But like, no, 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 no. One's got hair and one doesn't. Like two different things. Paulo, get your shit together. And then because someone told me like One Punch Man is super long, like Dragon Ball. It's like,
Super
oh, okay.
long. What?
Someone, I think someone was deceiving me back in the day. Someone was trying to stir me away from anything good.
Bro,
So
okay,
I
I
think I
think the
need to.
first season is like 25 episodes. Second
Okay,
season's only 12.
okay. Then someone was obviously trying to, like, we have a mole among us, ladies and gentlemen.
The first season might only be 12, too. I don't know. It's so incredibly comical. For those who are unaware, Saitama is a man living in a world full of superheroes. He decides to start this training where he does like 100 push ups, 100 sit ups, 100 squats, and like a 10K run every single day. He gets to peak human strength. He can defeat any enemy with a single punch, hence the name One Punch Man.
You don't say.
And the plot is about him being bored and wanting to find someone who's actually challenging to fight, but he can't
Oh,
find it.
okay. Man.
So it makes fun of overpowered characters constantly.
Oh, that's so dope.
They give him like all the plot armor so they can make
Hmm.
fun of it. Like it's so great. At the end of the first season, he basically fights Goku. The next one on here is ReZero. Fans of like Sword Art Online and Erased will like this series, and I can't say that I've sat through all of it. Like season 2 is airing right now, and I haven't been keeping up with it. But the first season was brilliant, and I think the reason that it's become so popular is because of how unique it really is. It's not unique in a sense that it's like this has never been done before. Dude who wakes up in another world needs to adapt to it. Hey, this world is not like mine. It's magical. It's this, that, whatever. But the reason I think this is so unique, and I think a lot of people will agree with me, is because of the character development. Each and every single character introduced, they're so extremely well developed. It's also an isekai with a main character who actually has flaws, who doesn't win every time. And I don't know, similar to Death Note too, like the way that the plot comes together and the level of detail in the show is just incredible. Number 5, Attack on Titan.
Oh, beautiful.
I think it's
Beautiful.
indisputable that this belongs on the list.
If this wasn't on the list, I would heavily question like everything about life.
For
Because
sure.
this show like defined like what's a good anime. And now that like it's still going on to this day with the fourth season being aired now, like that's how you kind of keep your audience engaged. Like if people were waiting for this, right? Because season three came out 2 years ago now, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Something like that.
So
Yeah.
the fact that people have waited,
Yeah.
and to those who have read the manga, like you kind of know what's coming. Like I
Mhm.
haven't, because like I rather just see it. I rather just be here with whatever happens. But man, like I remember when I first watched it, and then I told like my anime friends, like, dude, like it's so good, and like we'd spend like a full day just talking about Attack on Titan, whilst like in French class we are trying to conjugate verbs, but priorities, people, priorities.
It's just filled with so many great plot twists and stuff
Yeah,
all
like you
over the place.
legitimately don't know what's coming until it hits you right in the face, and you
Hmm.
still don't even know what's happening, but in a good way.
Watching the first season for the first time, I thought Aaron was a goner.
Oh,
Like
1000%.
5 episodes in, I believed that they were gonna kill off the main character. I
And I
was
was
like,
like, okay,
what the
this,
fuck?
I was gonna be like, this is so cool because like most shows and animes you watch, like they most likely will not kill off the main character. It's gonna be everyone or everyone else, but so I'm like, oh my God, like this is it, this is it. But like they obviously didn't. But
Yeah.
still, like then you have like so much other. Oh my God.
Best described as the Game of Thrones of anime.
Yeah.
Intense and graphic plot, but it's good. Um, Four, Death Note. Need we say any more? I mean,
Period.
yeah.
Next.
No, Death Note is incredible. We talked about that earlier, though. Attack on Titan
hmm
as well. So, have you ever checked out Erased?
I remember like I was okay. Funny story. The time it was in between that time where I was like finishing Naruto, like kind of gonna be like an anime break, and I like knew about it. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll watch this. And then Naruto like finished. I'm like, okay, well, like I'm kind of done with anime now. Uh, Peace out. So I never got around to watch it.
Mm. This is one that I have not seen. Um, However, it's described in a similar vein to Parasite, one of the most underrated anime of the past decade. It's
Oh,
only 12 episodes, so I another one that maybe I'll have to check out now, because that won't take long at all. Um, 12 episode series, dark and intense story that follows a 27-year-old man called Satoru, who possesses the ability to rewind to avoid a tragedy. So he has control over
oh,
time. That's interesting. However,
that would
after a
be.
murder in his present brings back forgotten memories of his childhood, he rewinds to his childhood past.
Oh, snap, crackle, and pop.
So he's trying to. Wow. Damn.
This sounds pretty
Damn.
interesting.
Trying to catch a killer. We
Back
need
in
to
his
watch
childhood,
this. We need to
dude,
watch this and have an episode about this.
I think we do. This sounds quite like that. Okay, I said this last episode, like time travel is always like an easy cop out, but like if you do it smart like this, like then I was like, okay, now I'm invested.
That's cool because this is like Life is Strange in a way,
hmm
but also like Flashpoint paradox kind of stuff. Like he's going back to a point. This is crazy, man. Oh, there's some good time travel elements in that, or
Yeah,
so it
when
seems.
time travel is done good, then I'll watch it. But if it's just like, oh, like we have to go back in time, then no, stop. Think again.
Okay, number two. Here's one that took the world by storm, kind of unexpectedly. Um, and that's My Hero Academia. So we already talked about it earlier, but I guess just to give it more context than being a Naruto clone.
So it's
So
kind of
yeah,
like Harry Potter, but not Harry Potter.
it's Harry Potter if people had freaking superpowers.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good,
yeah,
yeah.
fair enough. Um, it's pretty cool. And actually, they're number one on here, surprisingly, but I will not argue with it. None. Okay, I think it belongs up here
Okay,
somewhere. I'm
okay,
surprised to see it at number one. Is Full Metal Alchemist?
okay. Let's talk about this. I watched the first episode and I'm like, Mama, this is garbage.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
didn't. Yeah, I watched like okay. So the first episode, they're like in this town and like all this like red stuff's coming out of the ground and there's like all this like red light. And I'm like, okay, this is good. But like, see, I'm very picky when it comes to like opening episodes for an anime. Like, you gotta
Mm,
take me like for a whirlwind. Like, when you think of great first episode openings, Attack on Titan, Death Note, Devilman Crybaby, Evangelion,
fuck.
like
Yeah.
those like grab you by the throat and like we're gonna tell you a story, so sit down and be quiet. You're gonna watch this and you're gonna
Mhm.
like it. I kind of didn't watch past it. And I was like, Like, okay, brothers need to get back into your bodies. Meh. Uh,
No, it's
but
okay.
for a beginner anime, fair.
I think it's a good starting point. I'm surprised we didn't see any Naruto on here. We didn't see any. I mean, granted, Naruto it's a long one. So if these are
Yeah,
just
and there,
watch
yeah,
it, check it out, then that's fair. These were all pretty short ones. Um,
yeah, and but sometimes with okay, I have a lot of qualms with everything nowadays. But my thing with short animes is if so, like you watch it. Okay, let's say it's like 10 episodes. The last episode should like be the end. Like don't like I don't know. Like if you hint at something else, and then I'm obviously gonna want a season two, like another season. Like
mhm.
when okay, this was before I knew a second season was coming out. When Promised Neverland finished, I don't know if you guys watch it. Basically, long story short, these kids are in like a farm and they're being fed to demons. The last episode, like something happened. I'm like, okay, like when's the second season? And this was before the second season was announced. And I was like, man, like I wish there was like an ending, like a proper like this is how it ends. Like there's nothing to be alluded to.
Mm.
So I'm not just like waiting for like years. I'm like, is it gonna come out? Is it gonna come out? But then now we know there is a second season. It just aired last week. So I am watching that now and the first episode of season two, like the first 10 seconds is like, oh my goodness. Like these are like legitimately children under 12 and they're just running around in this world filled with demons and horrible, horrible people. But props to them, like if you guys should watch it, like these kids like go through a lot and they're like, yeah, we're out of here. And
Mm.
that's all I'm gonna say before I spoil anything else. It has been another lovely episode with you, Zakk. I
Mhm.
always have the funnest of times.
Yeah, it's great
Um,
conversation.
I just love anime and I think it's so cool. All right. I think that's it for this episode. Thank you everyone for listening.
Mm.
I'm your headmaster Paolo.
And I'm Zach.
Class dismissed. Thank you for listening to the Anime Academy.
It's been a lot of fun. Until next time.